Okay, quick video just on adding details and pinstripes to domes. I've got two domes, got a half circle, and I've got a bit more of a cone dome. So the first thing you need to do is I'm going to go into sketch mode. I've already got the plane that's exactly down the centre of the sketch, and it's quite important that you actually do that. If you haven't got the plane that's in that centre point, what you can do is draw a line from the centre out of the dome first of all, just to make sure it's exactly central, and then use construct in a plane at an angle and highlight that line at 90 degrees, which will give you a perfectly central plane to actually work on, just to kind of so that you make sure that you're working in the right sort of space. If you draw your dome exactly on the main origins, then that will automatically work out. Anyway, let's do some drawing. So the first thing we need to do is select that back plane, and what we're going to do is just draw an area where we want to add some pinstripe detail. I'll do something like this. Normally you'd measure these out. I'm going to offset those by 1.54. The reason I use horseshoes is horseshoes just make it easier when I'm then wanting to split a body. So I'm going to split the body using the outer horseshoe. It doesn't matter which I split the body. Using the outer horseshoe, extend the splitting tool so it cuts right the way through the body, and then modify split body, the inner part that I've just cut off. Click OK, and what I've got now is I've got two little bands. If I highlight the bands, press pull, minus 1.54 mil, which is what I use typically for pinstripes, and there you go, you've got pinstripe for your R2. All I've done then is go to modify and combine, which is bringing the bodies back together like so. And then what you end up with is that's your dome with the pinstripes in. Now the problem with those pinstripes is they are horizontal, whereas the dome's at an angle, so really they're not 100% accurate. Go through a second version now of actually doing this. So the first thing I want to do is to go back into sketch mode on that back plane. There we go. And this time I'm going to project the outline of this dome. Now under selection filter on project, you can see there's two. I'm selecting body. That means it's a whole body. So I click on body, click OK, and now what I projected is an exact outline of that dome, which is useful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to draw a line from that corner, okay, at 45 degrees in. Okay, now, sorry, 90 degrees in. Right down to the center point. I'll pass the center point like that, and then simply draw a line from the center point right the way down, and that's it. So finish sketch, and what I'm going to do now is create a revolve using that center axis as a center point and create a new body. Okay. What's this now giving us? Giving me a cutting tool, which I can now move up and down the dome wherever I want to. So, and again, you can measure these out, but I'm just going to move it to there. And then I'm going to modify split body, similar to what I did this time. But this time I'm going to use the underside of this little cone thing that I've created as a cutting tool. Click OK. And then I'm going to move that up 1.54 mil. Modify, split body, use the underside of that cutting tool, OK, and then just hide that. And now what I've got, same pinstripes, but when I pull them back at 1.54 mil, what I actually get then is I get the correct angle that you can see all the way around for the dome. So modify, and then just, as I did before, combine that, combine that, combine that. Now that's simpler on the cone-shaped domes. If I move over to the more circular domes, it's the same technique, but you've just got to go through a few extra steps, and I'll show you what that means. So first thing is we go back into draw. We do exactly what we did before, which is project the whole body. Once you've corrected the whole body, you've then got to decide where you want your first line. So I'm going to put a line here. There we go. And then let's draw a line to there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another line which will do 1.54 offset to there, to something like that there. So that's where I would normally, that's where I want to put my two lines. So what I do then is I go onto line, and I'm just going to then add to this sketch. So the first one I'm going to do is this line, and what you do is you go from that point where you want to cut right the way through to the center one, and then zoom in make sure you go past the skin and it's perpendicular, which is what those two little lines mean there. Then you want to draw a perfectly flat square going to there and there, like that. So what you've actually done now, if I hide the bodies, is you've created this, again, cutting tool that is perfectly perpendicular to the body. And then I'm just going to revolve it and on that axis, click OK. At the moment I've got the bodies hidden so you can't see them, and then that comes back. And then I can modify split the body, do exactly the same as we did before, using the underside of that as a split. The lazy way is I could just move this up 1.54 mil, but that wouldn't be exactly accurate. So again, I'd go through the similar sort of workflow. So I'd go into sketch mode, and the second part I would do then is draw a line from that second point right the way through to the center. Go zoom right back into that second point, create a perpendicular line this way. So just go slightly beyond the skin of the dome, and then pull it back exactly square, back down there, and finish sketch. And then all you've got to really do then is highlight that second body, create revolve, select that axis as you revolve, click OK, unshow, want to cite the sketches so we can see what we're doing, and then similar sort of thing, modify, split body, and then just select the underside of that dome to cut the body like that. There we go. And then what that gives us, if we hide that body, whoops, wrong body to hide, if we hide this body there, is you can now pull that in by 1.54, click OK. Now, this is interesting, this just shows you a little bit, it does this now and again. And what you've got to do is find creative ways. So what I've done is offset this by -1.54, click OK. It's not done what I want it to do. So this is where you go into a little bit of what I call fusion wrestling. Now there's different ways of doing that. You can rejig it. It's basically because that disappears to a single point probably at the bottom, so it's confusing it. But the quick way around it is take this bottom skin and press pull -1.54. So -1.54. Let's try top skin. Oops. There we go. So top skin is giving me 1.54. Modify, split body, split this by, and use this as a cutting tool and extend it. Click OK. And then all I've really done is trimmed 1.54 mil off the outside of that. Pull that out by 1.54 to bring it back, and there we go. I've pretty much done what I wanted to do before. So you just a little bits, and then I can combine the three. Just a little bit way of making some of the details around. But there I tried to pull it back. If for whatever reason it didn't do. If I'd just moved it up 1.54, it would have probably been okay. So I just pulled this skin back and used it as a cutting tool, then pulled it back out again and combined it. And then I just delete all of the edges, and there we go. You've now got the details. So the perpendicular one, the angled one, obviously the perpendicular one for the dome is exactly the same. Hopefully that's useful. Thank you.